Raw oysters are one of the ocean's most polarizing gifts. To their admirers, they are a briny delicacy, an elegant symbol of indulgence and freshness, best served on a cold bed of ice, with nothing more than a slice of lemon or a dash of mignonette. To their critics, they are slimy, alien, unsettling, little more than raw sea creatures slurped down with a grimace and a shot of something strong to mask the experience. But like so many ancient foods that demand courage and presence, raw oysters offer something far more complex than taste alone. They are a true test of trust. Trust in nature, in sourcing, and in our own willingness to engage with food in its most unprocessed primal form. Nutritionally, raw oysters are a powerhouse. They're exceptionally rich in zinc, which plays a critical role in immune function, wound healing, hormone regulation, and DNA synthesis. In fact, few foods contain as much bioavailable zinc in such a small, low-calorie package. They're also loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, the essential fats that support heart health, brain function, and reduce inflammation throughout the body. Add to that a strong presence of vitamin B12, iron, copper, selenium, and protein, and you've got a natural supplement in a shell. And unlike many other nutrient-dense foods, oysters are low in saturated fat and cholesterol, making them a rare fusion of richness and restraint. But to get to these benefits, you have to confront the reality of the oyster itself. You have to get past the texture, that infamous, slippery, gelatinous consistency that has caused countless people to recoil on first bite. You have to contend with the smell, that unmistakable oceanic aroma that brings to mind tidal pools, seaweed, and the raw scent of life beneath the waves. You have to look at what you're about to eat and know, fully and without denial, that it is alive or was just moments before. The oyster doesn't come disguised. It isn't shaped, breaded, fried, or formed into something else. It's exactly what it is: raw, soft, and entirely marine. That's a level of honesty many foods no longer offer, and one that many eaters no longer know how to receive. Then there's the real risk, the warning that cannot be ignored. Raw oysters, like all raw shellfish, can carry dangerous bacteria, especially Vibrio vulnificus, a microorganism that thrives in warm, brackish waters and can cause severe illness or even death in vulnerable individuals. For people with compromised immune systems, liver disease, or underlying health conditions, eating raw oysters is not a risk worth taking. Even healthy individuals can fall ill if oysters are not sourced, stored, and handled properly. This is not paranoia, it's food safety. Oysters are filter feeders, meaning they absorb whatever is in the water around them, including pollutants, bacteria, and heavy metals. And unlike many other foods, there's no heat to kill pathogens. Raw means raw. That's why sourcing matters more with oysters than almost anything else. You have to know where they came from, when they were harvested, how they were kept, and who's serving them. Eating a raw oyster is not just a bite. It's an act of trust. It's not the kind of thing you do at a gas station or on a whim. It requires a level of reverence and awareness that has all but vanished from the modern food system. Oysters demand a relationship, not just with the vendor, but with the ecosystem that produced them. And yet, for those who are willing to push past the initial discomfort, something changes. The briny taste begins to register not as fishy, but as clean, mineral, alive. The texture stops being slippery and starts being smooth, cool, and almost elegant. The ritual of it, the crack of the shell, the scent of the sea, the cold metal spoon or flick of the knife, starts to feel ancient. It becomes an experience, not just a meal. A reminder of our connection to the ocean, to wild food, to things we cannot control or replicate. There's something deeply humbling about eating raw oysters. You don't cook them. You don't dominate them. You meet them on their terms. You eat them in silence, in moments. And that's perhaps the biggest challenge of all, to allow yourself to be vulnerable to the food itself, to admit you're not always in charge, and to accept that sometimes nourishment comes in strange forms. Raw oysters won't be for everyone. And that's okay. They're not supposed to be easy. They're not fast food. They're not food you mindlessly chew through while scrolling through your phone. They're food that stops you, that forces you to think, to taste, to remember where food comes from, and what it asks of us. They're a challenge to the sanitized world of bland textures and artificial flavors. A test of bravery, not in the sense of daring, but in the sense of presence. So yes, they're slimy. Yes, they smell like the sea. And yes, they can be dangerous if treated carelessly. But they're also beautiful, ancient, nourishing, and real. In a world of processed everything, raw oysters are a reminder of what food can be when it comes straight from the earth or the ocean without compromise. And for those who are ready, they offer not just minerals and omega-3s, but a taste of something deeper, the courage to eat without disguise.